So, it dawned on me that I didn't give you guys a video yesterday. But I think this is better because here I am outside the school at which I'm doing my student teaching, doing a video before it's time to go in. A few people have asked me to define autism because apparently in all the time that I've done these videos, which is now a couple months, I've never defined what autism is or what it might mean to me. I could read you the Wikipedia definition, but I'm really not going to insult your intelligence by just telling you that autism is and then basically reading you the dictionary definition. Especially since if you found this video, you are very internet savvy and therefore can find that yourself. But I think what's more important than the super generalized definition is what does it mean to me? Because if you've ever met somebody who has autism, if you've ever learned about somebody who has autism, you've learned about one person with autism. And every single person is different. And every single person with autism is affected by it in a different way. So, I guess that I will tell you how it's affected me throughout my life. And what that means ongoing and what that means in the future, I guess. For me, my parents always knew that something was off or different or weird. But this was the 80s and we didn't really know what autism was. And so they just thought I was an angry kid. I would hit my little sisters and punch them because I didn't really know how to express, I want you out of my space. And I was a pretty angry kid. But more than that, for me, autism means that I have a heightened sense of smell, a heightened sense of hearing, and even sometimes touch, because certain textures and certain fabrics and other stuff I can't wear because it literally itches, when to other people it would just feel mildly annoying. But the thing that I find a little ridiculous, in a sense, about this whole autism thing is that for me, a heightened sense of smell doesn't just mean I can smell things that other people can smell, but it also means that if I'm smelling something and it's helping me remember something else, like say I smell a cologne that I remember a friend of mine used to wear in high school or something like that. That's a pleasant memory and that's fine. But if it's something negative, if the memory is negative, then frequently I will have an outward bodily reaction to that and break out in hives or have a rash on my body solely because I smelled something for a prolonged period of time that is not something that I liked remembering. And sorry, I'm just checking the time because I need to be inside by about 7:35. Anyway, it also means that I have difficulty with social stuff, like knowing when to say the right thing or what the right thing is. Frequently, I have to think about everything that I say because I don't want it to come out wrong. I don't want people to get mad because I'm talking about things that they don't want to hear about, etc., etc., etc. And we didn't find out about my autism until until I was 13 years old. I mean, we didn't figure out what it was. We just knew that something was weird and something was different, and that if somebody put the wrong shirt on me when I was little, that I would scream bloody murder, but nobody knew why. Um, when I was 13, I went over to a friend's house to babysit their kids, and I saw a pamphlet on autism. And after the kids were asleep, I started to read it because I was bored. And when I went home, I just walked up to my mom and I said, "Mom, this is me." I said, "Mom, this describes me. Oh my God, this is me." And within about a year, I was diagnosed with autism, specifically Asperger's, which just means more high functioning. But I do not like the categories of high functioning and low functioning because it assumes, A, that people can fit into one of two categories, which is not true. But also, if you're put in the low functioning category, which means that that person probably has more cognitive issues and or doesn't speak and or their disability would affect their life far more than somebody who has high functioning autism, who could probably hold down a job and live in their own apartment, etc., etc. But if put in that category, it precludes that maybe you won't be more than whatever your category label is. And I don't like that. I don't like that people just assume that you fit into one or the other and that's that. And there's no buts about it. That being said, for me, high functioning means that yes, I can hold down a job, and yes, I can drive, and yes, I do all the things that neurotypical people do. I just have way more difficulty socializing than anyone else. And I guess for me, it also means that I'm not necessarily certain sometimes about the appropriateness of relationships. And that's not to say romantic relationships per se, but after I found out that I have autism all the way through high school and all the way through junior college, I made friends with people who were completely inappropriate for me. And they dragged me down and they sucked the life out of me. And they got me in way more trouble than I should have ever been in. And while I know that that could happen to a neurotypical person, I think it happens to people with disabilities of all kinds because of the inherent lack of knowledge about what is and is not supposed to happen. I'm just checking the time. And for me, that meant finding people who liked to party when that wasn't really what I should have been doing, or people who liked to drink a lot when that wasn't really what I should have been doing. And people who were distracting me from the things that I should have been working on. And that's just a really small portion of, what went on in those years. And it actually got a lot worse than all of that. But that's a topic for a different day and maybe a different blog or video log. But when I was like 23, 24. Yeah, no, younger than that. Probably in my early 20s, 2021. I was having lots of trouble sleeping. Lots of trouble sleeping. And I would go downstairs, and it'd be like 3 in the morning, and I'd flip through the channels. And one day I found BBC, and one day I was flipping through, and BBC comes up, and Voyager comes up, and there's 7 of 9. And at first I kind of was just like, oh, whatever, this is just some silly space TV show. But then 7 made some comment that wasn't appropriate for the conversation. Probably her comment about Borg maturation chambers. And I literally was just like, that's me. And I was hooked. I was hooked on watching 7 grow and learn and become an active part of society. And before that, I wasn't certain that I could do that. I wasn't certain that I could learn how to behave correctly and how to... Sorry, there's a car backing out. And how to behave appropriately and learn how to talk to people in a manner that doesn't make people go crazy. Because my parents, before my Star Trek meetup group, had enough about hearing about Star Trek, and were really, really done hearing about Star Trek. And everything else that I perseverate on and that I really enjoy and that they don't necessarily understand or enjoy. And that led to me finding groups with people that do enjoy those things so that I can talk about the things that I like to talk about without being a social pariah. I feel like there's probably 1,000 other things that I could say about what autism means to me. But at the moment, I can't think of them. If anybody has any questions, especially Mike, feel free to post in the comments, and I will do my best to answer any questions you've got. I don't really know what to say other than that, because I gotta be inside in about 5 minutes, and I have to upload this video, and hopefully I can do that on the hotspot on my phone. But I will be back this afternoon with a video on my biological family, because apparently, according to some of my friends, I never really told you guys the story, and I just keep telling you guys things about it without actually letting you know what actually happened. And this afternoon, when I talk about my biological family, I will also talk about Data and season 7, episode 10, Inheritance. I think that's the right new numbers, numerical, and how it kind of relates to what I'm going through in finding my biological family. Anyway, I gotta go because I gotta be inside soon. So, live long and prosper. And speaking of live long and prosper, actually, another 15 seconds. I'm really excited to have seen For the Love of Spock this past weekend, and it was very eye-opening, especially when they did kind of a Viking tribute to Spock at Burning Man, when they put pictures, they being everyone who was at Burning Man, and also they being Adam Nimoy and the film crew decided to film this Viking tribute to Spock, where people at Burning Man put pictures of Spock all over these Enterprise and Starfleet looking apparatuses and then burn them. Because it's Burning Man, obviously. But it was very moving, and it made me cry. And the little girl 2 seats down, there was a little girl 2 seats down from me. She couldn't have been more than like 7. She came over and gave me a big hug when the lights came on because she said, "You look like you need a hug," which was really sweet. It brought many, many Trekkies together to celebrate a man that is for all intents and purposes, a pop icon, and not only that, but someone who changed the world. And I know Zachary Quinto is Spock now, but no one will ever replace Leonard Nimoy as Spock. And before I start crying in front of all of you guys, live long and prosper, and I'm gonna go.